Okay.
Welcome back to another edition of Felicia for Florida. This week is our 6th week in the Capitol, and things are really moving. We're on the floor more. This week we passed some really concerning pieces of legislation. The first one that I'm going to talk to you about is HB 7067, which is a pre-trial detention hearing bill. This bill is concerning because what it's going to do is it's going to allow court to order a pre-trial detention solely on hearsay, meaning that there does not have to be any evidence, just hearsay. Someone can say that you said or you did something, and you could possibly have to go through a pre-trial detention. Well, what the problem is with that is that because of how our court systems is really set up, it's more likely that it's going to increase the number of inmates that are in custody and that has to go through pre-trial detention. This should be very concerning to you all because constitutionally, we usually say that people are innocent until they are proven guilty. Well, this piece of legislation does away with that, and we don't know how it's going to go. So I will tell you to please take a look at it. It passed the House floor, and I guess it's now going to the Senate, and we'll see what happens. The next piece of legislation that I want to share that I definitely think that you should be concerned about, and I hope that it's what it says, but because of previous legislation that has passed, it draws me to tell you to pay attention to it. This would be HB 415. It's called the Pregnancy and Parenting Resource Website. So when you hear that title, you want to say, oh, this is a great site. They're looking out for people that want to, or young women that want to start a family, and they're going to provide resources. And I really, really hope that that's the case. However, there has been a lot of concern that this is only another way for us to fund what we call fake clinics. There are a lot of clinics out there that the state have been funding for years that are not medically clinics. They're not medical clinics. They call themselves clinic, but their staff does not have any medical certification. And so that's where the concern comes, because we don't want for people to be fooled. And so I just ask that we pay attention, we look and make sure that these information or the resources that are being claimed to be given is real. So please take a look at those too. But I always like to give you some hope on things that are positive. So we're going to actually talk about some bills that I believe will help us. They don't go all the way, but we know that at least it's moving in the right direction. And that would be HB 1029, and that's My Safe Florida Condominium Pilot Program. Well, we know, especially since Surfside, we've been paying attention to our condominiums in Florida because we have to ensure that they are safe. Well, this bill is going to create a provision for a My Safe Florida Condominium Pilot Program. This program will provide condo associations with inspections recommending mitigation, improvements, and opportunities to apply for an improvement grant. We know that because we want to ensure that our condominiums are safe, that we put in a bill a couple of sessions ago that you had to get these inspections. However, we know that that has been a hardship on a lot of associations because of the rates that it increased as far as insurance and everything else. So this program will allow for some of the associations to apply for a grant that can help with those costs. So, like I said, it's not going to solve everything, but it definitely is a move in the right direction. So I was very happy that this passed. We also have something that is near and dear to my heart. And some of you all that have been following would recognize that I have been in African attire the whole month of February. As I stated, being an African American, I celebrate Black History all year because it is my history. However, I recognize that others look at the month of February to recognize it and celebrate it. So in tradition, I wear my African attire to give others a reason to celebrate and look at the beautiful cloths that we have. So today, again, I have on my African attire, and I'm happy to share with you HB 1679, which is the Florida African American Heritage Preservation. This bill requires the Florida Department of State to contract with the Florida African American Heritage Preservation Network. This bill supports the preservation of Florida's African American history and culture by creating a network, and outlines the contract between the department and the state and other nonprofit organizations. This bill specifies that the network is to handle functions such as distribution of funding to members, museums, galleries, and related institutions for developing and supporting technology, exhibits, and artifacts. So it's just another way that we can actually ensure that African American history is being offered and celebrated and acknowledged here in Florida. So I was happy to see that this bill is actually moving. To tell you a little bit about what I have going on, I'm proud to say that we have passed HB 47 through all of its committees. For those of you that may be just joining us, HB 47 is a municipal water rate bill that is trying to correct an unintended consequence of one of the Florida statutes. For those of you that live in Miami Gardens, you know that for years, 20 plus years, we have been fighting to remove this surcharge that North Miami Beach has been charging our residents. The reason that we're asking, and we actually didn't say they had to remove it, we're actually saying that they should charge our residents the same fees that they're charging their residents, mainly because their facility sits in our boundaries. It sits in the city of Miami Gardens, and they do not pay taxes for that property. And so they're getting something free from us, and then want to charge us an additional 25%. And we know that that's not fair, and it's not right, and it's a hard burden on our residents. Well, I'm happy to tell you that we have passed it through its 3 committees unanimously. So everyone on the House that has been hearing of this concern do agree that this should not happen. So this bill is ready to hit the House floor. So stay tuned. Hopefully that we can get it passed on the House floor through the Senate and get ready for the governor to sign it. So that's all for this week. Please continue to follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and all social media outlets. And if you have any concerns or something that you would like to know more about, feel free to contact my office. I am your state representative, Felicia Robinson, representing House District 104. Have a great weekend.